I can tell you two things. One, turn off your cell phones. And we have a guest MC today who's going to introduce our entertainment, Jackie Hersher.
Yay!
Hello, everyone. I wanted to introduce you to my new friend, Sheree Sano. She's proud. Yeah. We met a couple of years ago when I was in New York with my family, and we were celebrating my birthday at Shea Josephine, where one of the places where Sheree performs. And she is as you can tell, a singer, very experienced with French repertoire, but all kinds of other contemporary music as well. And when I was there with my family and a few friends, we kind of hit it off. So last time, and I said I would invite her to come out here if we could work it out, and we did. And she came and did a whole program on Cole Porter, which was wonderful. Told stories and songs. Tonight, she's going to do one on Irving and Irving. And she told me a little story before. You mind if I...
What was the story?
The story was about what was it called? God Bless America.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that. I'll tell it in the
You'll tell it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you. It's a very good story, and you'll look forward to hearing it. So without more ado, Sheree Sano.
Thank you. Optimistic tune was written by an immigrant who was born in 1888 in Tsarist Russia. He became one of America's most prolific and beloved songwriters. Walter Cronkite would say of him, he helped write the story of this country, capturing the best of who we are and the dreams that shape our lives. George Gershwin would call this man the greatest songwriter who has ever lived. He would become known to us as Irving Berlin. Irving Berlin was born Israel Bailey, and he was the youngest of 6 children. His family was Jewish. His father was a cantor, and I think people know a cantor is someone who sings the prayers at Jewish ceremonies. And his first memory of childhood, his earliest memory, was of lying on the side of the road watching his family's house burn down because a group of Cossacks had come through in a pogrom, which is a raiding party, and burned out all of the Jewish homes in the settlement. He was only 4 years old at the time, and years later he would write about the sadness that his mother must have felt living in a world like this where he was constantly being persecuted and having to move and go somewhere else. But I think it's a very sweet song. He must have written it when he was much older, and I know he had his mother in mind. Every night you'll hear a croon, a Russian lullaby. Now, after being burned out like that enough times, Israel's parents decided it was time to find a safer place for them to live, a place where they might be free. And they steadily made their way across Europe, and finally to the Atlantic Ocean, and they took a ship to America. And after a brief stint on Ellis Island, to make sure everybody in the family was healthy enough to enter the country, the family made their way to the Lower East Side, which where a lot of immigrants first landed when they came to the United States. And they all settled in a small basement apartment, all 8 of them, because there were 2 parents, 6 children. Everybody worked. The father found work at a kosher meat packing place. The mother was a midwife. And the daughters, there were 4 daughters. Each of them worked in cigar rolling factories, which was a very common kind of work at that time for girls their age, teenagers. And his older brother, worked in a sweatshop, assembling shirts, pieces of material to make shirts. And little Israel, who at this point had developed the name Izzy, like Izzy, and he would sell newspapers. And while he was selling the newspapers, he would be exposed to all of the music that was pouring out at the different bars and nightclubs around him. And he would start to sing these songs while he was selling his newspapers. And people would throw in coins when they particularly liked one of the songs he was singing. And he would start to take notice of which songs people really liked. What made them like it? Was it something about the melody or the rhythm, or what was it? And so he's doing kind of market research even on a very informal level, even as a child. He mostly found, though, that the songs that were the most successful had a memorable tune, and they had very simple lyrics that had something to do with very simple, normal things that everybody did. Now, one day when he was out selling his papers, he got distracted. His little boy's watching everything around. And he was on the side of the dock, and he didn't notice that there was a loading crane that came along and whooshed him off onto the side of the dock and into the water. And he went under like 3 times before he was finally rescued by some dock workers. But he still had in his hot little hand the few pennies he had made that day, because he knew how important it was for his family's survival. He was a really tough little kid, and he really cared about his family. So, I mean, I guess he might have almost drowned, but he's still hanging on to that. Now, his teenage years were a little different. When he was about 13, his father died. And he decided he would leave the family home because he felt like he was a burden. He was the youngest of all of the kids, and he felt like he couldn't make as much of a contribution to his family as his older brothers and sisters could. So, but he didn't leave. I mean, he still donated money and whatever he could earn to his family, but he lived pretty much on the streets. He would sleep under stairwells, wherever he could. Sometimes he would stay at a homeless shelter for homeless boys, but it was really pretty dirty and kind of Dickensian, if you know what I mean. Very, very poverty kind of stricken. But he was a tough kid, and he never complained, though. He had kind of optimism about him. He said later on in life, I never really felt like I was poor. It never occurred to me that I was poor because it's the only life I'd ever known at that point. Anyway. So besides selling his newspapers, he would also sing on the streets with his friends, the Gershwin boys that were his friends, and also the George M. Cohan was one of his friends. They all would sing popular songs on the street, and they would also make the rounds of the different restaurants and nightclubs and bars and saloons, and they would run in and they would, sing for the people that were there, and the people would tip them. And Izzy had a very charming thing that he would do. He would make up funny lyrics to popular songs, sometimes risque lyrics, and people really loved him for that. And it was kind of his first foray into actually writing lyrics. He was just putting lyrics to popular songs, but he had an ear for lyrics. At 18, he landed his dream job which was being a singing waiter at Tony Pastor's. Has anybody heard of Tony Pastor's? It was a very famous restaurant in the early 1900s. And he was also doing at the same time, because he worked all the time, he was always trying to find out a way that he could, you know, help earn money that he could give to his family. And another thing he did was he became a song plugger. And in those days, a song plugger was somebody that a songwriter would hire to demonstrate their song to a song publisher. And if the song publisher liked the song, they would print it up in sheet music, and the songwriter would get a piece of that, the share of that song that was being sold. And in this way, he became very familiar with all of the publishers in the music industry. And there's a term called Tin Pan Alley, which I think some people are familiar with. It's not an actual place, it's not an actual alley or a street. It actually referred to the sound inside a building of publishers and songwriters, where everybody is like pounding away on a piano and singing songs, like 10 or 12 or 20 different songs all going on at the same time. And people say, oh, that sounds like a Tin Pan Alley. It's just a cacophony, it's just a lot of noise. So that's where that term comes from. At a certain point, he was hired by one of these publishers as a staff songwriter. And his first song didn't do very well. He earned about 37 cents for that. And even back then, that wasn't very much money. But his second song was truly life-changing. And one thing about that first song, though, you notice on the sheet music, he was credited as I.Berlin. And I thought, oh, Berlin, I like that. That sounds a little more American than Berlin. So he kept that, and it's like, you know what? I think I'll change that to Irving, a more American sounding name. So in that way, Irving Berlin was born. Now his second song, like I say, he was only 23, but this one literally was life-changing, and it was a worldwide international hit. I would be surprised if there's anyone in this entire room who has not heard this song. Made $20,000 almost overnight from that song, and in those days that really was a lot of money. It's still a lot of money today. First thing he did with that money was buy his family a home in the Bronx, where they could live like a decent family. The second thing he did with that money was he had 2 pianos created that I don't think anyone else has ever built them. They had a lever in them that would change the key, because he taught himself to play late at night in the saloons where he had been working, and he could only play on the black keys. Everything was in F sharp. That was the only thing he could play in. So sometimes he would have to play these songs in different keys for other singers. He's like, well, you know, let me just get a piano that shifts it for me. So he would play in whatever key he wanted to play in, which was F sharp, which was the only key he could play in. And then he would shift a lever, and the piano would play it in whatever key he had asked it to play in. Now, one of those pianos is in a museum in Philadelphia. The other one is in the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., because it's part of Americana. And like I said, he made a lot of money, and all through his life he continued to make a lot of money from his songs, but he's always giving away money. And there was a moment, several times during his career, his accountants would ask him, you could save money on this tax or that tax, you could shelter your money this way or that way. And he'd always say, no, I want to pay my taxes. Everything I have, everything I am, I owe to this country. I'm happy to pay my taxes. Don't cut any corners for me. Very unusual concept. I don't think you'll hear that too often said. But anyway, that's what he was. He just felt, oh, no, I'm very grateful for this country. Don't take anything away from my taxes. Throughout his life, he was a deeply generous person. And he was often giving support to causes and individuals that he felt deserved it. Now, at the age of 24, just about a year after he wrote Alexander's Ragtime Band, he fell in love with a singer named Dorothy Getz. Unbeknownst to them, there was a typhoid fever outbreak on the island at the time, and Dorothy was infected. She died only a few months later when they returned back to New York. Very sad. After losing Dorothy, Irving drew himself back into his work He wrote for vaudeville and Broadway and the emerging recording industry, because until now, there weren't records, there wasn't radio, there weren't movies. Basically, it was all live music. And he established his own publishing company so he could have more control over his copyrights. At the age of 26, he co-founded an organization called ASCAP, the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers. And basically, it's a company that protects the rights and promotes the rights of songwriters and publishers of music. It's still in practice today, and a lot of songwriters rely on it to collect their royalties worldwide. He was a tireless tunesmith, and a lot of times he would just write song after song after song after song until he found the one that was really going to be successful. And Cole Porter, they were very good friends. He would say of him, "I don't know anybody who sits down to write a hit like Irving does. He just can't seem to not write hits." But Irving knew the truth. He said, there's hits and there's misses. And I've written some hits, but I've written a lot of misses. I don't think anybody's written more misses than I have. So he was very humble. In 1917, at the age of 29, he became a US citizen. And he was almost immediately drafted into the Army. And he used to joke with his friends, like, "Why are they drafting me now? I'm almost 30, and it's not wartime anymore because the war had ended." And, he was fine with it, though. They sent him off to a post in northern New York, upstate, called Yaphank. Has anyone ever heard of Yaphank?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay. Well, the reason they drafted him was because they wanted him to write a show that would involve all of the servicemen at the Yaphank post. And so he did. It was a huge success. And Uncle Sam decided, you know what? Let's take it to Broadway. So they did. And I think this show was called Yip Yip Yaphank. Have you heard of it? Really? Oh, wow. You guys know your history. But the interesting thing is when they did this show, maybe you were even in New York at the time. I don't think so. You can't be that old. But there were about 300 servicemen who were in this production on Broadway. And every night before showtime, they would march from their hotel in formation, in uniform, down the streets of New York on their way to the theater. And it was a huge draw for anybody watching. It became a popular thing to watch them do it. And this is the song that Irving chose for himself to sing in the show. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You gotta get up, you gotta get up, you gotta get up this morning. Someday I'm going to murder the bugler. Someday they're going to find him dead. I'll amputate his reveille and step upon him heavily and spend the rest of my life in bed. Now he really did hate to get up in the morning, but he had a good excuse. Because he was, his formative years were spent working late nights at bars and nightclubs. He developed kind of a night out timing to his life, and he would regularly get up around noon, and he would work until 5 the next morning. And he would have assistants sometimes come in and help him get out of his mind what he wanted to hear, what he was hearing, and get them to write down what he had heard, because he wasn't a trained musician. And he would often correct them. He said, "No, that's not the chord I want. I want a different chord. That's not the..." And they would keep trying until they got what he wanted. So they were really translating his thoughts into paper so that it could be published. And he'd have two shifts. There would be an assistant who would come in the early shift during the day. There would be another one to come at night. And of course, Irving would do both shifts. He continued to write songs for Broadway and vaudeville and the Ziegfeld Follies, including the Follies' official theme song. With a couple of other producers, and they called it the Music Box. I would imagine many of you have seen a Broadway show at the Music Box Theater. It's still going strong. It's one of Broadway's most popular theaters, and in the lobby they do have sort of a mural that talks about him. Now, at the age of 36, he falls in love again, and he marries, a little while he marries, but he meets Ellen McKay. She's a wealthy socialite. She's 13 years younger than him, and her father objects for several reasons. There's the age difference. He's about 13 years older than her. She's about 22, 23. He was about 36. And there's also the fact that Irving was Jewish. She was very Protestant. And there's also the fact that Irving made his living from songwriting, which is something Ellen's father didn't really think was a stable or even respectable line of work. And he actually sent Ellen away for 2 years to Europe to try to keep the couple apart. But Irving would, all through that time, they would write, and he would send her love songs that he had written for her. Like one like this. Civil ceremony at City Hall. And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. course, Ellen's father, when she found out they got married, he was furious, and it said that he actually disowned his daughter. I don't know if that was permanent or it was just a momentary thing, but Ellen didn't care. She really loved Irving, and Irving really loved her. And as a wedding present, among other things, he wrote a song for her and he gave her all the royalties to it. It's a song that's still played today. He wanted her to have something that she could say, this is mine, and it will always create income for her, no matter what happened to him or their marriage. And the irony is that they were married in 1926. A few years later, something happened in 1929, and I think you might know from history books. The stock market crashed. And this is the irony. Ellen's father was heavily invested in the stock market, so he was ruined. But Irving made his living from royalties, which just kept rolling in. He just kept writing one hit after another. So he was hardly affected by the stock market crash. I just think it's just funny that that her father was so negative about being a songwriter when really Irving was the winner. In the mid-1930s, Irving penned a song that hinted at the sound of distant drums of war. And it aligned exactly with President Roosevelt's fireside chats. I think people know it. Roosevelt used to have fireside chats where he would, on the radio, he would talk about the economy and the country and what was going on. And he basically said, separately we fail. Separately we may despair, but together we may have a chance. And this song begins with perhaps the most daunting of opening lines of any popular song. There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance. 1941, a date that will live in infamy, according to Roosevelt. The United States was attacked at Pearl Harbor, and the United States suddenly found itself at war. And Irving penned a song that captured the wistfulness and the longing to be with friends and family at holiday time. It was a huge hit then, and it still is today. It won an Academy Award, and it was the first secular, non-religious Christmas song. Before this song, there were only religious Christmas carols. And this song also carried, though, a very hidden sadness for Irving and Ellen. The Berlins had 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. Their second child was the boy. They named him Irving Berlin Jr. They were very proud of him. But only 4 weeks after being born, he died. He was found in his crib, and he wasn't alive. And it was SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. We still don't even know today what causes this. It happens, no one knows what causes it. But every year, on Christmas Day, the Berlins would visit their son's grave, and they refused to speak of it with anyone. It was a very private grief for them. They asked that no one else talk to them about it, but like I say, every year they would make this pilgrimage to their infant son's grave. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops listen and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be bright. With the success of White Christmas, every other songwriter who was worth a dollar realized this is a great idea. If I write a Christmas song, it's going to be played every year. Royalties coming in every year. So it opened the floodgates for a lot of secular Christmas songs. And then Irving thought, you know what? I can think of another holiday where I could write a song that nobody's ever written a popular song to. And we just had a holiday recently. People walk up and down Fifth Avenue in their fancy hats. In your Easter bonnet, with all the frills upon it, you'll be the finest friend in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when they look us over, we'll be the proudest couple in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, photographers will snap us, and we'll find out we're in the photograph view. I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet, of the guy I'm taking to the Easter parade. Now, there's an interesting word in this song that I had to look up. Does anybody know what the rotogravure is? You do? Oh, that's amazing. It's a picture, yeah. It was a a way of printing the photographs in the newspaper. It was called rotogravure. And so the idea is like, oh, you'll get your picture taken and it might be in the newspaper. Cute, cute. Now, during World War II, Irving was asked by our government to write a song for every branch of the military, and he donated all of the royalties to those songs to the service members in those branches. And these songs are still performed today, year in and year out, by military bands on July 4th and other holidays. So the royalties for these songs are quite sizable, and they go to benefit the servicemen in those different branches of the military. He also donated all the royalties from a song that I think most of us probably think it was written so long ago that it's public domain now, but it was written by Irving Berlin. And in 1968, at the age of 80, he appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show in front of a closed curtain, and he sang this song. And he sang it once through, and the second time through, they opened the curtains to reveal row upon row of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And the question comes to mind is like, well, why Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts? Is that just a cute thing that they did? The reason was because Irving had donated all of the royalties to God Bless America, to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America, another constant flow of income for those groups. Like I said, all his life, he was constantly giving away, donating, giving, sharing, supporting. He was a very generous person, and he appreciated everything he got from this country, and whenever he could give back, he did. And I kind of would like to see if I can maybe create that moment again. I'd like to sing the song through once, and if any of you would like to sing along with me the second time through, you're welcome to, you don't have to. You'll be surprised that you actually know all the words. It's one of those songs you don't think about it, but everybody knows all the words to God Bless America. Said of Irving Berlin, he has no place in American music. Irving Berlin is American music. In 1988, at the age of 85, Ellen passes away. They've been married for 62 happy years. I guess her father was wrong. And the following year, Irving passed away at the age of 101. And the lights of Broadway were dimmed in his honor. That's something Broadway does for people they truly, truly treasure. One of his more upbeat songs, very jazzy. I love it.
Before you turn your cell phones back on, a little more round of applause.
Do you know what he's been called?
hard for me. I wish I was in these guys, I'm getting used to it, but I'm going to walk down and say thank you to the